My predecessor enacted the latest iteration of the failed theory. Tax cuts for the wealthy. It wasn't paid for. The trickle-down approach failed the middle class. It failed America. It blew up the deficit. It increased inequity, and it weakened our infrastructure.
President Biden just wrapping up his big Bidenomics address moments ago, blaming former President Donald Trump for failed policy. White House claims Bidenomics stems from growing the economy from the middle out and the bottom up, making public investments and putting equity at the center. Reaganomics entailed lower marginal tax rates, less regulation, restrained government spending, and non-inflationary monetary policy. Wouldn't that be nice? Kudlow host Larry Kudlow joins us now. Larry, good to see you. Okay, the word that scares me in all that is equity at the center. Because what that means is, what equity means functionally, forget about growth. Forget about dynamism. It's all about redistribution.
I'm glad someone defined that, equity. Is that like the middle out?
That's how we got the job.
I mean, very good at definitions. I mean, I'm a walking dictionary.
I'm impressed with that. You're probably right, by the way. I don't know if they see it that way. Look, this is the most, just try this. This is the most anti-business administration since FDR. He is far worse than Obama. He is far worse than Jimmy Carter. He is far worse than LBJ. JFK was pro-business with his tax cuts. Yeah. I mean, really, you have to go back to 1935. I'm just pegging the FDR. And he is far, in the long run, he would be worse than FDR, in my opinion. But everything he's done, $6 trillion of spending and new debt. He's raised taxes on corporations, which, by the way, it is the wage earner that bears the brunt of corporate tax hikes. He has a blind faith in regulations. We've never seen a regulatory assault, not only on fossil fuels, which is bad enough, but on every manner of business now. Every nook and he was in there talking about airline fees and bank overdraft fees. That's how deep he'd gone. And of course, your point on equity, diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI. You have all these social engineering regulations put in. It's completely anti-business. And he can say the inflation rate has come down, but the reality was he was inheriting a 1.4% CPI. Actually, point to point, Brian, the level of the CPI, I appeal to your economic professorship, is up 15.6%.
I grant your appeal.
And that has translated into a major decline in real wages, both hourly wages and average weekly wages. So these are the things that Mr. Biden doesn't want to talk about. I understand that. It's politics, and we're into the silly season. But the reality is he is the most anti-business president. And look, we are growing now. After he inherited strong growth of 6.5% in the first quarter of 2021. You had a pandemic recovery. My point is, in Mr. Biden's first full year in office, which was 2022, the economy grew at 0.9%. Okay, if you tack on the 1.3 in the first quarter, you're running about a 1% growth trend line. Okay, that is a terrible trend line. That is stagnant growth. He has not succeeded. Look, go back in time. This is Joe Schickman and I were just doing this outside. Reagan cut taxes. He doesn't like Reagan. He doesn't like Reaganomics. What else is new? By the way, Biden's a phony because he voted for Reagan's second tax cut bill in 1986, but that's a different segment. But if you go back to Reagan's first round of tax cuts, which took effect in 1983, the growth rate of the economy in 83 and 84, 2 years, 6%. Wow. Biden's at 1%. So look, at results show you just can't make the case he's trying to make. Belly out, equity out, equity. I don't even understand.
Belly out.
It's way too hard for me.
Real quick, Larry, can you sort of outline for our viewers what happens if we get this Bidenomics for another 4 more years? $6 trillion of spending, and he's saying, I want to spend more. Just really explain to people, he's going after corporations. He's slowed our growth down. When that compounds over time, what happens in this country?
Well, it's a great point. Look at if you trend this out, you're looking at more and more stagnant growth. 1% growth, 0%. There's probably a couple quarters of recessions in there. We may see that next year. You also see a continual inflation of 4, 5, or 6% because growth actually solves inflation. Supply side growth, you
grow your way out of it.
That's right. You really do. You have more money chasing even more goods. The trouble is we have less money now chasing even fewer goods.
We literally have 30 seconds.
I got it.
I need like a yes or no answer.
I'm out of here. Gold
is
still
a hedge against bad times?
I don't know. I don't believe in bad times. I'm a petrol optimist. I think you buy gold when inflation goes up. One reason why gold is stuck in the 1900s is inflation is too high. I think gold is, anyway, the dollar should be pegged to gold. It was worked very well for about 70 years.
Look, it's always a good time with Larry. There's no bad time with Larry. Larry, thank you for coming on.
You guys are
always
great.
good to see
you.
Hey, don't forget to watch Kudlow weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern right here on Fox Business.